I
all the
just
same?
do collages. Yeah, they're all the
So
same.
maybe you want to put it when people come in?
I'm gonna hand. I wasn't gonna do it here. We discussed it. I discussed it with Beverly. That's Chuck's, his fiance. It's when we go over to his house. I was able to pick them up last night. They closed, and I knocked on their door. So what are we doing? They said, you gotta do this for me. I'll do it. The big thing about printing is you can't have cuts. So I said, well, just do it on the front of the sheet. I did it for Wendy Block. And it was nice. And then just Steve every time. You get it? You sign it. Don't I sign it? I believe it.
Looks great. You're welcome. How you feel is another story.
I woke up Schoninger. I got up early because I knew that was the first one. I feel my
Hey, well, when I first wake up, I feel your age too, so, you know. This is such a wonderful thing that Henry did. Oh,
yes, that's great.
she put together a whole thing on Beverly. Yeah. Because they started the film
Yes, I know. She was biggie.
Yeah.
It's a great picture of her.
I gotta get one of them.
Here's it
In the back.
Did you sign it? Yeah.
Go the other way.
Do you know how many years she lived here?
No. You know, we shared the same birthday.
Really? September?
September 24th. So, in 2018, they bought me a cake. Because she had. And, yeah, they put my name on it and we sang happy birthday, you know. Wonderful.
You know, I didn't know her that well, but she's lovely.
But she was very talented.
She had a doctorate, didn't she?
Yeah, I think so. Because she came up with an idea of treating mentally ill people. And she and her associate, it was being used worldwide. She
Was she a physician, or was she
was,
just a doctor?
I don't think she was a physician.
I'm sure they'll mention it in the eulogy.
She then the Alzheimer's.
It's Alan.
Well, I don't know that other song.
I think Yeah, wherever you want me. I like to listen to.
I talked to Larry.
I like to listen to people more than
Friday
talk.
night. He said, I don't know Beverly because I thought he might be playing. Doesn't matter. We're all a cappella. Maybe Zimmerman?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're a cappella. We usually are a cappella up here. So,
Yeah.
you know, it'd be delightful if we had piano, but I never even considered it.
Yeah.
Are we getting an accompaniment or not?
Accompaniment? No.
Yeah, I just said that. No.
Yeah, we're just talking about.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Is there anything I should know?
No, we're just going to kind of do it slowly. I like what Peggy said. So kind of do it slowly and we'll get more feeling.
Yeah. The
Anything
one
but-
year, that third one? Yeah,
All of
whatever.
that. Like, I did your door to door with Josh Nelson.
Yeah. That he wrote it. Yeah, I found.
I wonder,
I
yeah.
put in the Google thing.
Yeah.
Whatever the name of the song was, and the writer. Music. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start it out so you know what key I'm in and,
Yeah, well, I was
and the
gonna say,
tempo
it's
I'm
with
in, and then just jump right in.
But everybody else probably, a lot of people know the trumpet.
So we all do. We've done it so many times.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you will. So can we find it on Saturday?
Do you all have the music? I brought a couple of the Yeshko Habib. Yeshko Habib? Okay. Okay. Oh.
Oh, so I'm sorry.
I just moved this over one so he can sit here instead of on the end.
Billy, do you need a Yeshko Habib? Do you need Yeshko Habib? No, I have. Okay. I got it.
Okay.
He has sung with the Catholics. I've had to step back for some medical issues, but it's great to have him here.
I'll come up here. Then.
Yeah, well, Jack is one of the original, yeah. My printer is broken and has been for a while, so I don't have copies of it.
Yeah, he said he was got extras too.
That's the Yeshko Havim.
Do you have
the door?
I've got them all.
The 23rd, he's going to do starting on the 23rd, is that what you said?
I think so.
23rd.
23rd is first.
23rd,
Yeah, in the door of a
the
door.
door.
Yeshko Habib, but they're not done together. They're done middle, beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. You don't go
We're
one
not
after the
doing
other.
men, women like we used to do.
Nope.
All at once. That was nice, things a lot easier. Great to see you. I'm sorry under these circumstances.
And I put together the pages we are singing. Stop here.
So the doors first, then what?
No, 23rd. Yeah.
23rd, did you get it? Wait, what did it say, 23rd?
Did you get these up here?
Okay.
Good. Anywhere you want.
Hi.
Doing everything. I said, you look so familiar. Oh, no, not that. It could have been the same thing, 'cause I asked somebody else that could you work for that? I guess, I don't know. And I'm Sharon. Sharon's to me. My husband's over there. Second row, close. Second row.
Oh, yeah.
Baking was pre-made Santa For the mailman. And I thought I should have given him something.
Welcome back. Yeah, good to have you back. Glad you're not lost.
Yeah, but you could come in. Yeah.
Barcelona.
I know I got this. I have this stuff. She
Oh, I know. Yeah, okay. So I put this together to stop here very soon. And it felt funny because he says piano going.
it was hard to get through it.
Well, they start out in the video, and then they don't start out.
We sing in the beginning. Did you tell everybody? Are we one at the beginning, one in the middle, or one at the end?
Yeah, exactly.
And what's the first one? Is
23rd.
so I'll be first, and then everybody's singing. Everybody start on the phrases. Take a breath and sing.
Yeah, you're not gonna rush.
Don't rush either. I mean, you know, but hit the just take a breath and sing.
Yeah, you pause.
I want to tell you, I heard the same thing at the cathedral in Barcelona last week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're back.
The choir director. Yeah, the choir director said exactly this, except she said it in Catalan. But I could, because they didn't start right, and she banged on the table
Breathe
and
first.
told the people. She said, "Rip, rip, rip." And she said, "What I'm saying," she said, "you have to start on time. You have to all start together at the march."
Right.
I said, I'm going to tell everyone when I get back. And she said the exact same thing.
How was your trip? You were gone forever. What was that, 3 weeks? No.
Yeah, we started in Barcelona, February the 5th. Well, no,
No,
February
we're
1st.
We're
we
warmed
left.
up there. Not
February, you're in the wrong month. Because you had
December
December,
1st,
but you were in Thanksgiving, you were.
Thanksgiving, we were here.
Right.
And then we started. We left December 1st. 3
It
nights
was like a
in
biking
Barcelona.
tour.
Yeah, no
Where else
biking.
did you go?
Not very
Which
many
ones did
places.
Oh,
we're not, say Vikings. We're going on the Viking group that winds up in Barcelona.
To go where?
From Rome to Barcelona.
From where?
Rome.
Did you
Yeah,
do
that's
the reverse? Did you do Barcelona to Rome?
Where did you go?
We went Barcelona to San Juan, Puerto Rico to get the ship in the Caribbean for the winter.
Oh, you went across the thing.
Yeah, across the,
Oh, across
well,
the
the
thing.
Atlantic.
No, we're just
the
doing
Atlantic.
Across the ocean. Right.
8 days.
The thing.
8 days. I felt like Noah's Ark.
Was it
So we
entertainment good?
couldn't see it. Yeah, it came. Food was good. Okay,
What ship were you on?
serious. Yeah.
No, it's an ocean. Yeah. Well, just
Yeah.
but we're not
That's still just right.
Yeah. You hanging in there.
I can't do small trips anymore.
We'll see.
Hello to the Coven Oaks. Hello to everybody. I'm not surprised that we have a full choir. Not surprised that we have so many people here. We gather today in a space where grief and gratitude sit side by side, as we remember Beverly. And grief and gratitude sitting side by side is exactly the theme of Hanukkah. Grief, gratitude side by side as the world becomes darker and darker, and today is the solstice when the world is at its darkest, and yet we are remembering a light in that darkness. And I was discussing with her family before we walked into this room how this is exactly what Beverly would have wanted, which is to pass during Hanukkah, to pass exactly the same Yortzeit week as Kenny, so that they will forever have their candles lit side by side, and the family will gather forever to remember both of them side by side, year after year. Because Hanukkah is exactly that time of miracles, of sharing light in the darkness. And some lives teach us through words, and others teach us through presence, through joy, through the way they move through the world. And today we make room for what cannot always be explained, but what can be deeply felt, and that was truly in the presence of Beverly. A gift and a blessing.
Adonai Orilo Exar Bino Desheya Beseni Amen Menuchot Yenam Aleini
Nafshi Yeshov
Nafshi Yeshov Yateini Fima Metzeret Leman Shemo Gam Ki Eleh B'Gei Salmavet Lo Irara Ki Ata Imadi Shirtecha Umishantecha Hema Yenachamuni
Taroch lefanai
Karov lefanai
neged
Sorerai Dishanta Vashem Roshi Kosi Revayai Atoa Chesed Yidifuni Kol Yemei Chayai Vishavti B'Beit Adonai Le'orech Yamim.
Elizabeth, if you could come up and read for us Psalm 23.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside still waters. God restores my soul. God guides me along the right paths for the sake of God's name. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
We are gifts, and we are blessings. We are His story in song. We are hope, and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words, and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Ledor nagid God lecha. Ledor we protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our heart, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that will part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way. And the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. Ledor vador nagi God lecha. Ledor vador we protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador these lips will praise your name. Ledor vador nagi God lecha. Ledor vador we protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador these lips will praise your name.
Beverly was a proud member of the Covenants, longtime member. We now transition to memory, to hearing stories about the life, the legacy of Beverly, to begin to transition from her being in this world to her being stories that we can pass from generation to generation. Chuck?
just hope I could get through this. My mom was the most impressive person that I've ever met. She was an inspiration to many people, and her love was pure. She gave out a warm smile every time she walked in the room. Made you feel like royalty when she engaged. Her selfishness was genuine. She never complained, felt sorry for herself, because she was always focused on others. She made this world a better place. She made me better. She was my inspiration, my teacher, and my heart. She will now be with my brother and my father, and I know she will continue to make the next world a better place for all of us. I love you, Mom, and I miss you every day and always. I thought about a lot of stories I could tell about my mom, and I think the best stories are the times in my life that we got in a fight, and it happened twice in 56 years and 9 months. You know, I grew up, I was a little punk, and as a punk you test boundaries, and we had a little static between us, and I called her an asshole at 13, and she took a broom and she chased me around the kitchen, and she couldn't catch me because I was faster, but she tried, and I couldn't stop laughing, which made her more frustrated. So, but that was it. That was the last time I ever cursed to her. And the second time, a few years later, I got my learner's permit. She was so excited to teach me how to drive. What she didn't know was I've been stealing the car for about a year and driving it, and I got really good at it. So, and not thinking, when I got in with her, I started driving perfectly, and she starts hitting me, because she knew I knew how to drive already, and put it all together in a half a second. So, but that was kind of her. She was excited about life. She loved everybody. She never thought about herself. She was selfless and strong and tough. She when we all left the nest, she went back and got her doctorate in psychology. She was a brilliant lady, and this world's gonna definitely miss her. But I love you, Mom.
Mom, mommy, mother. What a woman. From an early age, my mother would correct my spelling, my grammar, my pronunciation, and every word that came out of my mouth. She just did this a couple months ago. She was a true scholar, a trailblazer. She created the Jewish Film Festival. She went back to school and got her master's. She got a bar mitzvah at the ripe age of, I don't know, 60-something. Alan would know her exact age. When I was little, she used to cut out some time just for me, and she would take me to recorder lessons. And after that, we would get to go to the convenience store and pick out one thing, and then we would go to the park and swim. And she would listen and listen to an 8, 9-year-old child telling her all the difficulties of life. And she was so calm, and she said, we'll get through this. There were times when she would have Halloween parties, and Kenny would sit in a chair and put a sheet over him, and he would grab people. She had us paint this big log outside of our house that we would play in a tube. She was really into education. She helped me a lot go back to school and finish, and
That was a big issue for me because I'm dyslexic and it was so hard. It was like my 5th time going to school. She will be greatly missed. She will be in my heart forever, and I love you, Mom.
I didn't prepare anything because it's going to be hard for me not to cry when thinking about my mom. But she was very proud that she was a leader. That was something very important to her. She was devoted to her children. She started a nonprofit so that the money would always go to Kenny's program. She was very proud of that. She started a business back in the day when no one did. She was very smart and always singing. She would be grateful that everyone was here. She always had joy in her heart, joy for everyone. She appreciated the small things like rainbows and plants. Because of her, I loved to garden and I became a social worker, taking care of the elderly. She trained me to be a mini her as best as I could. She was very private. She always put on lipstick and wanted to present herself as her best, but she was always there making fun of herself at the same time. She taught me to laugh at myself, which I do all the time because I'm always making one mistake. She loved to travel. She took me to the Galapagos with her when I graduated with my social work master's, and she took my daughter to Italy with her. She took Morgan to Africa. She went all over the world. She helped inspire my love of travel. I know this is odd, but if we can all sing a few of my favorite things. She used to sing that to me all the time. So I would really like you all to sing that with me. I don't know how much I can sing it, but I just always thought that that song would be part of her memorial service. So I'm going to start it. The choir all knows it, you know. From Sound of Music, you know that.
They're ready.
Okay. Why don't you sing it for her? Will you just sing it? Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, doorbells and sleigh bells and warm little mittens, bright paper packages tied up with string. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudel, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzels and noodles, wappies that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. You can just do the chorus. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
That's a perfect song. Alex, let's come share some words.
Thank you, guys. Beautiful.
Bless you.
Sweetheart, 25 years of joy, love,
and wonderful experiences to the very end. I remember just nearly 25 years ago, you arriving in Denver, coming to live with me together. It was wonderful. And the piece, you didn't bring a whole lot, but we brought 2 6-foot tables, fold-up tables, and I couldn't understand why. You needed them, didn't have the room for them, but we found place. Those were the tables that she was going to work on her doctorate. And so 5 years later, she got her PhD, and she started her doctorate at 60. She was always a learner and always interested in what was going around in the world. Hers has really been a life well lived. Now, when you got your doctorate, the 3 professors that adjudicated came out to a celebration that we had, and they pulled me aside. And of course, I'm saying this because Beverly will never tell you anything like this. She's a very modest person. But they pulled me aside and they said, you know, your partner has done one of the best theses that we've ever adjudicated. And that was reinforcing, and it was a wonderful sentiment. These were 3 heads of departments of psychology from 3 different universities. You might not know this, but she also had worked very closely with Francis Shapiro, who's well known in the field of EMDR. Beverly helped Francis quite a bit on the reprocessing side, the R. And they both were first responders to that terrible tragedy in Oklahoma. And they were able to put tourniquets on young kids, not literal ones, but emotional tourniquets, right on the spot. But that was what Beverly was like, running to the midst of one of the most horrific events in American life. American terrorism was at its worst. She was also a very wonderful mediator and wise counselor, including my daughter, who unfortunately can't be here today. She would have loved to have been. And Beverly helped her through a very, very difficult part of her life after her divorce and a move from Denver to Casper, Wyoming. And when I asked Danny the other night, how would she sum up what Beverly contributed? And she said, she works with gentle power. And that is so true. We first bonded, obviously this is not in chronological order, we first bonded when Kenny came to Denver to have an operation at the University Hospital. She wanted to be with him, so she took an apartment near the university. And I just marveled at the way she handled him and took care of his healing. After I got to know Kenny quite well, Beverly and I were sitting one evening, and she looked at me and she said, you know, sweetheart, that was our mutual name for each other. She was sweetheart 1. I don't think Kenny's disabled. I think he's differently abled. And I had to agree with her. It also appears that they've both passed in the same week. that Kenny passed away. His Yortzeit light was on yesterday. And then she really had not been an integral part of Judaism through her entire life. But when we got together, she wanted to understand what this was about. And I, at that stage, belonged to a modern Orthodox synagogue. Long story short, Beverly's life as a Jewish mother, as a Jewish partner, was boundless, and it was marvelous just to see her growth in Judaism. And in fact, when we came here, we belonged to this lovely congregation, which she was very comfortable in. But I come from a very Jewish background and a rabbinical background, so we also belonged to Chabad. And she had to endure the difficulty of, for the first time in many, many years, not sitting next to me and being divided and unsighted. And yet she handled that with aplomb, and we managed to balance that. Of course, she was also bat mitzvahed in the synagogue here as well. One of the earliest bat mitzvahs. And she really was committed to her love of Judaism. I'm going to tell you something. I'll reinforce that at the very end. The other thing that we did, and we did it as partners, and she really did things that she'd never experienced before, but we traveled extensively. And for her to go hiking in the African bush, or be in the New Zealand fjords, or the Australian outback, or the South African and Namibian deserts, was just a delight to behold. She loved every moment of our travels. And she met family, a lot of my family and friends all over the world, from New Zealand to South Africa and Canada. We actually, sad to say, but on reflection it worked out well. We did separate after about 12 years having lived in Denver. And she came to live here, and a couple of months passed, and like Beverly, she was the master at a few words to get the idea across. And I got a voice message, simply said, "Can we talk?" Well, I can't tell you the delight that brought to me. And we talked, and I decided to come and see what Wilmington is all about. And long story short, we took a rental home right on Harbour Island, where we spent almost 12 years. And I said to her, "Look, I've got a 6-month lease here." I was still in practice. I was running back and forth between here and Denver. At the end of the 6 months, she looked at me with those longing eyes and lovely face, and she didn't have to say anything. I said, "Are we looking at an extension of this lease?" She says, "You've got it." So we did it for another six months. And after a year here, we decided this was going to be our new home. And the house that we lived in for the last many years was just 1 block away from this rental that we'd had for a year. So that was coming to Wrightsville Beach. I used to enjoy rare moments with her, where she'd come down to my office downtown on Thursdays and Fridays. And as she began to weaken, it was more difficult to do. And one of the last acts of her Jewish commitment that I so well remember in 2024, just a year ago, you know, there's the candle lighting down at the river for Hanukkah. And I said, let me see if I can get parking right next to it. She was already using a walker and everything. And she said, absolutely not. We'll walk to the lights and we'll see the Hanukkah being lit. That was the last Hanukkah that she saw. Unfortunately was unable, of course, to see the current one. One anecdote of her tenacity. We were in Rome, and we wanted to go to the main synagogue in Rome on a Friday night. So this was a decision we took just whilst we were walking around nearby. So we walked in, and as we were walking, I looked at her. She was wearing slacks. You know, we were out for a walk. I said, sweetheart, this is an Orthodox. I don't know about the slacks bit. She said, no, we'll figure it out. This is a 300-year-old synagogue, pretty stuck in its ways. And long story short, she walks in with the slacks, and all of a sudden a woman appears and beckons her, takes her, whips her away, and she came back with a crepe skirt. So she got her way, she got to see the synagogue, and she got to honor the Shabbat. And we did the same every Friday. If we happened to be in New York, it was the same thing. Most recently, towards the end, she discovered that her cousin, whose wedding we'd been to, Morris Salth, now Rabbi Salth, more affectionately known as Mo, was one of the rabbis at Central Synagogue in New York. And they screened the Shabbat night and day every week. That was for her the most essential part of watching and bringing the week to an end. So every Friday night and Saturday, we'd sit in front of it, and I'd be jumping up and down, and then the nurses began to know what Mo looked like, and pointing Mo out to her. It brought a great smile to her face. She was surely one of the most incredible people. So I'm going to miss you, sweetheart, every day of my life, but I'm going to remember the joyous times we've had, the laughter, the love, the sharing, and you are really an Eshet Chayil. You're really a woman of valor. God bless you, and may He keep you safe. Thank you.
Amen. Amen.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan. Beverly was my grandmother. We had a very special relationship, and as the oldest granddaughter, I had the honor of naming her BB, which was short for Bubby Beverly. So a couple months ago in September when I was here, I wrote her a letter, and I just wanted to kind of read that to her again. So I wrote a letter to my BB. Some of my happiest memories are with you. I still remember sitting beside you on your porch swing in Colorado Springs at the log house you loved so much. When I was little, you used to ask me, will you remember swinging with me when you're grown up? And I do. I remember how happy I was and how lucky I felt to have the most loving grandmother in the world. You taught me so much, like how to make your favorite dessert, rugelach, and how to find onions on our hikes in Colorado Springs. You taught me about different cultures and places and how to find the beauty in the small things. Most importantly, you taught me that if you put good into the universe, good will come back to you. You inspired me to put good out into the world, which led me to become a third-grade teacher just like you. I'll never forget when you took me to New York City for my first time being away from my parents when I was 7 years old, and then again all the way to Africa when I was 12. How lucky was I to have a grandma like that, so full of adventures. You played games with me when I was little, you talked to me, and you made me feel loved. You've always been the most kind person I've ever met. You made me feel so loved and so special. You understood me, and I'll always carry that love with me. Thank you for every laugh, every hug, and every adventure. I love you so much, and I'll miss you forever, but I know you'll always be with me. Love, your granddaughter, Morgan.
I know Lonnie has prepared some words.
Hi everyone, my name is Lonnie Roberts and I'm Morgan and Maddie's mom. I had the privilege of being Beverly's daughter-in-law. And even when our family changed, she still treated me like family, and I still consider her family because that's how she loved. When I think of her, 2 words that capture her are unconditional love. She believed in this more than anyone I've ever known. If she loved you, she saw the good in you. She couldn't see anything but the good. And she made sure you knew it. She would tell you how funny you were, how smart you were, that if something looked good on you, or if she appreciated something you did, she would name your gifts, and she reflected your light back to you. The last time I saw her, just 2 weeks ago, she looked me right in the eyes, and she says, Lonnie, you look so good for, and I said, 53, and she went, she maybe wanted to change her mind after she remembered I was 53. She had a deep curiosity for life. As everybody's mentioned, she was always learning. Getting her PhD so late in life was such an inspiration to me. She made me believe that it was never too late to do what you want to do, to chase your dreams. She often used us as her guinea pigs as she was practice EMDR and thought field therapy. She would cure our allergies through different tapping and different things. She wanted to take what she learned and share it with us to make our lives better, and it always did. She noticed beauty everywhere, in gardens, in seashells, in starfish, leaves. I never knew anybody that would notice leaves as much as she would, the colors. And she would point it out to make sure we didn't miss it. She loved singing. So many videos I have of her singing, and her laugh was the most contagious laugh. She would get the giggles almost like a teenager, and just when you would think she'd be finished, she'd start giggling again, and it was so contagious. We would literally laugh for hours. And she believed that our thoughts matter. As Morgan said, she believed, put good out there, put good into the universe. She would even say, let's put that into the universe. She wouldn't let you put the negative into the universe, only the good. I see her everywhere in my girls, and I'm so grateful. They're the very best part of her. Morgan, In Morgan, I see her belief in standing up for what's right, her refusal to give up for people, the way Morgan cares for her students, and the way Morgan expresses herself and wears her heart on her sleeve. And in Maddie, I see her sense of adventure and playfulness and her creativity and her beautiful ability to make everyone feel seen. Bibi bought Maddie her first guitar. And if you know Maddie, her love of music is a guiding force in Maddie's life. Bibi always said it takes a village to raise kids, and she wanted to be part of that village. She wanted to be involved in the day-to-day. She wanted to know their hearts. She even moved here with us after we moved so she could be near them. And the last few years, every single time I saw her, she would say without fail, "We did a good job raising them, didn't we?" And she meant it. She also told me something that mattered to me more than she probably ever knew. She always told me I was a good mom, even when I didn't know what I was doing, even when I didn't feel like I was doing good as a mom. But she showed me when you don't know what to do, you just lead with love. And in the last few months, she would thank me, "Thank you for being such a good mom." And she will never know how much that meant to me. She's truly one of the rare people in my life who I never felt judgment from. Bibi, it really does take a village. And I am so incredibly lucky that you were part of mine. Your love lives on in the way we treat people, in the values you modeled, and in the beauty you taught us to notice, and in the goodness you believe we should all put into the world. Thank you for reflecting your light back to us. I will miss you, and I love you.
Thank you, Rabbi Bender, for having me today. I was reminded of our Mo Salk, Rabbi Mo Salk story, too, when Barbara and I went to New York and Central Synagogue, and Rabbi Salk was there, and I went up to him. I introduced myself as Beverly's rabbi, so that was, he enjoyed that, as did I. And Rabbi Harold Schulweiss writes, "Pity those who have no tears." And there's a lot of tears. I don't know if the people in the back can feel the love that we have in this room at this time, and all the emotions and all the tears, which are fine, because don't hold the tears. It's okay to be sad at this moment, as long as you need to be sad. I want to thank the Kavanos for being here today to take part. Beverly was an important member with Alan as well. Beverly was the alto, one of the altos as well. And it says in the book of Jeremiah, Chazon Yirmiyahu, a vision of Jeremiah. And today, as we say goodbye to Beverly, a visionary, a prophet, Chazon Beverly. And when she and Alan came to town, we met. And at that very early time, she spoke to me about a project that she was hoping, no, that she was intending to initiate and create and to bring to life some kind of Wilmington Jewish Film Festival. And I know that she spoke to many of you in this room at the very beginning of the chapter. This endeavor would be known and would come to be known as the Wilmington Jewish Film Festival. And it was not about her, because for Beverly, there was no I in team. It was all about Jewish culture, life, and community right here in our town. And she had a vision, a chazon. She had a vision that she involved so many of you sitting in this room, and many, many others. And I'm not going to mention any individuals because it's not about you today. You know who you are and what you did and what you have done over the years. Beverly asked some of you for seed money at the beginning. to help get things going. She educated herself about Thalian Hall. She asked some of you to screen movies and to write reviews and to bring your report to committees. And God forbid, chas v'shalom, that we should go hungry after seeing a movie. And so she got some of you to be a chair and on the committee and a member and involved to bake and to bring cookies, a dozen or a couple dozen cookies for 300 or 400 at a showing. And do I need to mention the ice cream or the dinner for those supporters and others? And this would have been enough, Dayenu. But one more thing, perhaps most important in light of our current American and world Jewish situation, and I refer to the Holocaust education segment of the Jewish Film Festival. The goal was to bring hundreds of high school students to Thalian Hall to view an age-appropriate Holocaust film. And it began with New Hanover High School students walking distance from Thalian Hall who walked down the street. And then the program was expanded to all of Wilmington, and then all of New Hanover County, and then north to Pender County, and west to Brunswick County. This was sort of a side part, but very, very important. And first, it was the first time for about a third of the students, for some of the students, when I was there at that time, a third of the students said this was their first time in Thalian Hall. Can you believe that? The first time. They had never been in Thalian Hall before. And how do I know? Because we asked them to show their hands, is this the first time? And all these hands went up. They had walked by, rode their bicycles by Thalian Hall, but never came inside. And the format was designed to encourage the teachers who would attend with the students to speak about the Holocaust before and after the showing. And if you were in Thalian Hall during the showing, you saw the students' reaction. You saw the look on their faces. You saw their eyes wide open. You saw education and the opening of minds and hearts right in front of your very eyes. And so to those involved with all that here today, we say thank you. And we say, Nes Gadol Hayasham. Truly, a great miracle happened there and happens there on an ongoing basis. And so I conclude a Chazon Beverly, a vision of Beverly. And Beverly lived the words of Theodore Herzl, Im tirtzu ein zu agada. If you will it, it is not a dream. Her dream will continue to live on and on.
Heard so many beautiful stories, so many beautiful angles, a beautiful song. The family has asked if there's anyone who wanted to share any additional memories for this space you were invited to. Certainly you have the lifetime, right? Emails, texts, phone calls, a couple months from now, a couple of years from now, just to share a story is always a beautiful and appreciated thing. But if there was anyone who wanted to share something in this space you were invited to, so I will allow a few moments if someone is so moved. She's at the end. God. God's calling. Yeah, Beverly says it. Maddie. Good timing. Do you need help with that? No.
I didn't get this ready beforehand. I want to just start off by just thanking everybody for being here. If you know my grandma, you know how amazing she is, and there's been a lot of amazing words said about her. She was the best. She was the best. She was a very inspiring woman, and she accomplished many amazing things in her life. But I think the most inspiring thing about her was her never-ending positivity. The glass was always half full for her. She, as a lot of us have said, she's loved and cherished all the little things. I remember when I was growing up and she would drive me places, she would take me down Airlie Road instead of just going straight to Wrightsville Beach. And for a 10-year-old, an extra 2 minutes in the car is 10 hours, it seemed like. And I would ask her and I would say, "Bibi, why are we going this long way?" And she said, "Well, look at the view." And it was always worth it every time. Something that my grandma would often emphasize to me was the importance of being creative. She believed creativity was one of the most important traits that somebody could hold. As my mom said, she got me my first guitar, and which is something that is very important in my life now. And my grandma was an insanely creative person herself. A lot of these stories that you have heard give a glimpse into her creativity. And one of her favorite creative endeavors was singing, as we know. If you spent any time with her in the past 2 years, you probably sang about 30 songs with her. She was pumping them out about one a minute. It was pretty impressive. And a song that you may have sang with her, and I know I sang with her many times, is "You Are My Sunshine." So if you guys could sing that with me today, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you to all of her loved ones for sharing such beautiful, beautiful memories, beautiful songs. From the very beginning of our Jewish story, the Torah teaches that there are times when words fail and a song must lead. But then there is Miriam the prophetess, standing on the far side of the sea after terror and loss, and Miriam takes up a timbrel in her hand and sings. And tradition teaches that she carried that instrument with her through the wilderness, trusting that one day it would be needed. And she understood something essential, that after trauma, the body must be led back to life through rhythm and through sound, much like Beverly knew that. Beverly lived at the meeting place of healing and song, as we heard over and over again today. In her professional life, as we heard, she stood with people in the aftermath of devastation, when the world no longer made any sense at all and language could not even capture what happened to them. And her work helped shape a way of healing that honored a profound truth, that trauma doesn't just live in memory, but lives in the body. And that healing, therefore, must reach deeper than talking, must reach deeper than words. And she helped people remember without being overwhelmed, to carry their stories without being crushed by them, which is the incredible breakthrough of EMDR. But Beverly never believed healing was only clinical. She was a woman who believed deeply in beauty. A patron of the arts, we heard, founder of the film festival, we heard she made room for creativity and story and imagination, because she knew that art was not just about entertainment, it's about survival. It's how human beings make meaning when explanation runs out. And that was the Beverly that I got to know in the last 5.5 years. I unfortunately did not meet her at the height of her professional career, but I met her later, after the lockdown of the pandemic, when memory and mobility were already changing for her. But what I encountered was not someone in decline. I encountered someone who was just so full of joy. And all she did was sing. And she sang when she entered the room on Shabbat, hand in hand with Alan. She sang with the Kavanotes. Long after she could no longer learn a new melody, she didn't care. She sang, singing what she could, singing what lived deepest in her body, singing with a smile that needed no permission to shine. And she sang not to perform and not to get it right, but to belong and to release something inside of her. And even in her final months and days, that song, as we heard it, never, ever left. Even when words started to fail, she would just hum a song to herself. What are you humming? Oh, and then let's start singing it. And she lit up when you entered the room. She lit up at a particularly good prospect of a snack, or prospect of some illicit Coca-Cola, right? Or at any music at all that happened to be playing on the background. Because something essential in Beverly always remained untouched, and that was her capacity for pure delight in everything. And our tradition calls the soul neshama, from the same root as neshima, breath, that Beverly's breath was music. When words loosened their hold, her soul knew how to sing. So like Miriam, Beverly understood that healing does not always have anything to do with understanding. Sometimes it's just rhythm, sometimes it's breath, sometimes it's sound and joy that always survives even when memory fails. Beverly taught us by her life's work and by her life that healing is not about returning to who we once were, it's about discovering who we can still be. And even at the end, even when so much was stripped away, what matters most can fully remain beautifully intact within you. May her song always echo in our hearts. May her legacy of healing and beauty be a blessing, and may we carry forward what Beverly showed us. The joy itself is a holy, rebellious act.
Amen.
So, my friends, this is the time where we will begin to transition to our next location, but not quite yet. First, we want to recall the star, the light that she left within all of us. The beloved Kavanotes will sing Yesh Kochavim.
There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us
as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. Hey, Shemarim La'adam et as we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. We remember. We remember.
So just a few announcements while we're all still seated. The graveside service will continue immediately following this service. You can follow the caravan to the cemetery. Family asks that donations can be made in Beverly's honor to the Wilmington Jewish Film Festival. And following burial, there will be a Shiva Minyan at 1 p.m., followed by visitation until 4 p.m. at 105 Seapath Estates Drive. Is there anything else that you wanted me to share? So if I could please call up to stand with Beverly. We have Chuck, Alan, Mark, Gus, Adam, and Greg. And just stand, three on either side and facing out. Not yet. As we please rise if you're able and comfortable. God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant perfect rest on the wings of your divine presence in the lofty heights of the holy and pure, who shine like the radiance of the heaven, to the soul of Beverly Schoninger, who has gone on to her eternal rest. Master of mercy, shelter her under the cover of your wings. Let her soul be bound up in the bond of life. The Lord is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
El Mali Rachamim, Shochein Pameromim, Hamatzeh Menucha Nechuna, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, V'malot Kedoshim Utorim, Kezohar Kimazhirim, Lenishmat Bela Gittel Bat Shmuel, Shalach Lo Olamo, Began Eden Teim Nuchato, Ana Bal Rachamim, Yesterday, who besitzer confav lo lamim, v'vitzror b'tzrochim inishmata, n'ayu nachalata, v'yanuach v'shalom, al mishkava, Linamar. Amen.
Thank you. I don't know if I tell you all enough how much I appreciate all of you, how much I love all of you, because you're wonderful. I'm sure you got this. Thank you.
And you can follow behind the family.